Welcome to the Star Good Morning Show. Today is Tuesday, 12th May 2015. The Star Good Morning Show is proudly brought to you by Airtel. You are listening to the Star Good Morning Show on Star Radio. After his expulsion from the main opposition Sierra Leone People's Party, Ambassador Ali Issa Bangura, the principal petitioner of the last national executive elections the party had in Bo, has said that the expulsion and suspension is no longer a serious disciplinary action in the party. That's SLPP.
As promised, with us in the studio is Andrew Karmoh Keili, also a member of that party. Mr. Keili, once more, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
First off, the ideals in which the party was established is under constant threat, thus losing the party attributes of one country, one people. This could rather be a fair assessment of the status of your party. Am I right?
Yes, you're quite correct. SLPP was the national party that reached out to all parts of this country. It was the party that was tolerant. It was the party that was non-tribal, and it was the party that really stood for unity. But now, with all the things that are happening, with the violence on the political landscape, with people speaking with discordant voices, I think the party is no longer like that. It's viewed in a very bad light.
Mr. Keili, what is your view with respect to the current decision being taken to expel Ali Bangura out of the party?
I think it's ludicrous. Over the past few months, there have been a raft of queries, suspensions, and expulsions. And as Ambassador Bangura mentioned in that interview, it's almost become a joke. Even Chief Captain, who meted out the expulsion, was at one time expelled himself. And it's getting beyond being a joke. The party is not democratic anymore, and the party has lost its moral high ground. I think all of this is because we want everybody to move in one direction, and it shouldn't be like that. It's all proxy wars. I mean, all of these things that are happening are proxy wars with one intention in mind, to coronate one person.
Mr. Keili, when you look 10 years back, 15 years back of what seemed to be the better part of SLPP, and you're looking at what is happening currently, what readily comes to mind?
Well, I think if you're a government, if you are in a position waiting to get into power, and you behave in that way, you don't really appeal to middle-of-the-roaders. You may maybe invigorate your own party faithful who stand for something, but election is about numbers. And right now, our party needs to be taken very seriously. It's not taken seriously when you have infighting every day. Over the year, we're having a raft of expulsions, queries, and suspensions.
Mr. Keili, sorry I'm coming in. What will this mean for the supporters of your party? Are you not seeing them going in disarray, not having one direction, and leaving them more confused than ever before?
Well, a party is not necessarily supposed to have one direction, because you should have room for disparate views within the party. But we should be tolerant of each other, of those views. What is happening now is SLPP has always had disparate views on issues, but they meet and go through a democratic process, elect a leader, and go through whatever their constitution states they should go as an action. But what is happening now is because of this raft of suspensions, expulsions, and so on, which is really meant to keep the party in one direction towards the flag bearership, all of these are proxy wars, and it's not good for the party. By all means, yes, have disparate views. We can disagree on certain things, but we can sit down around the table and talk.
So what do you, as an individual, now I'm talking to you personally as Andrew Keili, what do you have in mind to do? Because I know you have a passion for your party, and you would not see your party divided. I'm sure you don't want to see members leaving the party. So what have you had in mind? What do you think you're going to do?
Well, first of all, it's ludicrous to expel somebody like Ambassador Ali Bangura, who was giving his all to this party over the years. I don't need to explain to you what Ambassador Bangura has done for this party. Everybody respects him in this party. The fact that he took the party to court is out of desperation. Many of us did not favor the court case, but when you actually look at it, what's the alternative? What's the alternative for Ambassador Ali Bangura to withdraw the court case? You may withdraw that court case, but are these people going to keep to the tenets of running the party? Are they going to stop the raft of suspensions and expulsions? Are they going to gear the party towards having a level playing field for everybody? From what is happening now, I don't think so. So Ali Bangura is using that as a means of getting the party together.
Continue to stay with us, Mr. Andrew Keili.
Mr. Keili, where do you see the hope of the party members flagging off this polarization within your party?
I think there is hope, and I think there is still time to be able to reflect on these issues and take corrective action.
Amidst the constant polarization?
I think so. I think APC at one time was more polarized than we are. I think people just have to realize that the party is bigger than any one individual.
But yours seem to be deep-seated.
As much as it's deep-seated, there are people sitting around the table and talking. And when you watch what is happening, even with the issue relating to Ambassador Bangura, there are a couple of stakeholders that have got together and are discussing issues with him. So I don't think it's as polarized as people make it out to be. I think there is hope that we can sit around the table and talk. Already there are peace overtures in the air. I mean, there is the official one read by Bishop Humper, but already people are talking across the aisle to each other.
Mr. Keili, the problem with SLPP, this is not coming from me. It's a general perception. Perhaps you will deny if you like, that what is causing the problem for your party is that everybody seems to be nurturing a kind of vaulting ambition to become the flag bearer of your party. Nobody seems to be subduing for the other person. Even when in a situation you would have noticed the proficiency in an individual, yet still you insist upon becoming a flag bearer. Could that be an issue?
Yes, obviously the flag bearer issue has overshadowed the party, but I've always been one to say that the party is a lot more than the flag bearer issue. There are several issues that we should have sorted out after the last election to do a postmortem on what went wrong, how we can restructure the party, how we can become more acceptable in areas in which we did very badly, because the party is basically been viewed as a southeastern outfit. We don't have any members of parliament in the western area and the north. We had problems whereby APC made inroads in certain areas. We've had problems whereby some of our MPs defected and went over to APC. We've had a lot of problems with organization and raising finance. So all of these we should have sat down around the table to discuss it. But certain people in the party think that the flag bearer issue is the be all and end all of the party, and it should have been at the forefront, and we should get it over and done with and coronate somebody, and then nobody else should vie.
Quickly, Mr. Keili, in your honest conviction, do you repose confidence in the current administration executive that they have the wherewithal to mend fences within the party so that everybody could come on board to speak a singular language? Well,
as I mentioned to you, some of us were trying to talk to Ambassador Bangura to maybe have another view of the court case. But while some of this talk was going on, they started this raft of queries, suspensions, and expulsions. And it doesn't really engender any confidence in somebody that if you had negotiations, they will be negotiating in good faith. And I think this is one of the problems that Ambassador Bangura is having. Can he really sit down around the table with some of these people and talk? Will he trust them? Will he trust them to withdraw the case and say, well, these people are going to negotiate in good faith?
In all of this, who do you think are the devils in the formula?
There are no devils in the formula. I think people are just misguided. And I think the misguiding of people has emanated from this whole flag bearer issue. A party should be open to everybody. Anybody that wants to vie will vie. I think people will make their own decisions, and the process has to be transparent. There has to be a level playing field. As long as the impression is given that there is no level playing field, this is going to continue.
Stay with us, Mr. Keili.
The program is the Star Good Morning Show on Star Radio. You have been sending in your thoughts, so we're going to join Desmond to read them out for us. But before that, let us tell you that we earlier called on the Deputy Chairman and leader of the SLPP, Dr. Prince Alex Harding, to comment on Ambassador Ali Bangura's interview and the issue. But he declined and said he does not want to have anything or any interview to do with Star Radio. Let's turn over the mic to you, dear listeners, as we join Desmond Jones. Good morning, Desmond.
Yeah, good morning, Patricia, and good morning, Abdulrahman. The first text message here says, SLPP should desist from satisfying their thirst for power. They should not drink from the cup of bitterness, hatred, and tribalism with the APC in the name of politics. Politics must be conducted on moral high grounds by putting Sierra Leone and its people first. This is coming from Big Brother, texting from Kailaun District. Indeed, I want to agree with Ambassador Ali Bangura's statement that his expulsion from the main opposition, Sierra Leone People's Party, is an unserious decision by Suman Kapen and his cohort. This is coming from Toure, texting from Bombali District. Ali Bangura is not an SLPP because he lost power. He lost an election and took the party to court for over 2 years without removing the case from court. He is a virus, and we are happy for his expulsion from the party. This is coming from Peter Ja, Bo City. This one is saying, I don't know why people get annoyed when a disciplinary action is taken against them. This one is coming from Mr. Bokari Musa. The issue of expulsion, suspension, omission, and deleting members from a political party is becoming a common political game in Sierra Leone. From Big Danny T, texting from the Bombali Texas Union. And this final one we taking for now is saying, for the main opposition, SLPP to regain power in our lifetime is a daydream. From Santos Maria.
Thank you so much, Desmond Jones, for bringing out the views of our listeners. Mr. Kelly, from the text messages you receive, based on your party, was that the type of reaction you really expecting from Texans?
Well, he had some good ones and he had some negative ones, so I'll concentrate on a few negative ones. Somebody said Ali Bangura is not SLPP, is a virus. I think anybody who knows Ali Bangura within the SLPP will not say that. He's more SLPP than a lot of the texters. And then basically what Ali is fighting for is a means of redress. You cannot recognize somebody that you think is legitimate. And basically somebody also talked about disciplinary action, that disciplinary action is good. Yes, it's good, but it should be consistent. If there is indiscipline all over the party, the national executive should take steps to ensure that there is discipline brought to bear on the party. Disciplining Ali Bangura is a wrong statement. You can't discipline somebody who considers you illegitimate and who has taken litigation against you. Basically, if the moral guarantors within the party were functioning, the elders council, the legal advisors, and all the structures within the party, the trustees, were functioning properly, because the constitution will not spell out everything, most of these problems will be nipped in the bud. But the problem arises because a certain group of people don't want to have a level playing field.
Mr. Kelly, what do you make of the opinion of Dr. Alex Prince Harding when we are making it virtual for us to have him on air to respond on the issue? In his estimation, he said, Ali Bangura is a stark illiterate. Those are his words. What do you make of said pronouncement?
I think that's rather unfortunate. I rather don't believe that Prince Harding would say that. I find it very difficult to believe.
Mr. Kelly, we hardly make any false citation here.
Anybody who knows Ali Bangura, anybody, I have known him for years, ever since I used to work at Rutile, when he worked there as an accountant coming to audit for KPMG. Anybody who has followed his progress during the years, from that time to the time that he started Radio Democracy, to his fight for democracy in this country, to his stint as a minister, to his stint as ambassador, would not class him as an illiterate. This is all what is causing problems in this party.
If Dr. Prince Harding is hearing you now, reacting on this, he will tell you, Mr. Andrew Kelly, give me a break. I did say that.
Well, he's entitled to his opinion, and he can call anybody an illiterate, but I think that's very unfortunate. First of all, the fact is Mr. Ali Bangura is a highly educated and highly experienced person and is very moral, of high moral standing. Secondly, you cannot use words like that against a senior member of the party. It creates division. What we're trying to do now is to bring healing. Some of us has been very reasonable talking to Ambassador Bangura to see whether there could be a way forward. These kind of statements are very unfortunate.
Stay with us, Mr. Kelly. Let's go back to Desmond Jones to see whether we've received some text messages. Desmond.
Yeah, we've got 2 here, and this one is saying the SLPP has become a problem in the political landscape of Sierra Leone, with lawlessness and indiscipline being their way to State House and Parliament. This one is coming from Big Danny T. And this other one is saying, Star Good Morning Show, the SLPP needs to quickly address the expulsion of Ali Bangura in order for the party to again be together to provide Sierra Leone a good opposition. And it's coming from Kalisha Bwala from Makeni.
Thank you so much, Desmond. Mr. Kelly, those two.
The person who said that we've become lawless and indisciplined is quite correct. Years back, if you go a decade back, when you're talking about lawlessness and indiscipline, you would not associate SLPP with that. You will associate APC with that. When you're talking about lack of internal democracy, you would not associate SLPP with that. When you talk about regionalism and looking at things from one set of views, you would not associate SLPP with that. So the tables have now turned. We've become an intolerant and indisciplined party. And I think we need to take the moral high ground and wrestle this party back from the people who think that there should be only one way to go with this party.
Mr. Kelly, if you are to fulfill your prerequisite objective in becoming a leader in this country, will you want to see yourself ever being in the SLPP till whenever in a situation of constant polarization?
I don't believe in quitting. Organizations belong to individuals. You're there by the dint of what you believe in. I believe there are lots of people, and I think they are in the majority, who believe that SLPP is not going in the right direction, just that they have been silent. I think it's high time for the silent majority to speak up. A lot of those people that are speaking are in the minority. They may claim to have grassroots supports, they may claim to have supports in certain parts of the country, but this is a national party, for goodness sake. And politics is about getting other people who don't believe in your credo to come back to your own way of thinking. There are lots of independent people that don't like the direction of the country at the moment. And a lot of people talk to us, they say, why don't you guys get your act together? And I think those are the people that we should be going for, as well as try to energize our base. But there has to be an education process, that there has to be a level playing field, because all of these things happening in the party are proxy wars. The proxy wars for the flag bearership, and nothing more than proxy wars.
Quickly, Mr. Kelly, how do you intersperse your personal relationship by way of wielding more support? Do you have friends within the SLPP?
I have lots of friends within the SLPP, and many people will tell you that I'm one of the people who always reaches across the aisle. I was in London recently. I talked to supporters of many other potential aspirants, Ali Kaba, Alpha Timbo, Madabio. I've had meetings with Madabio when he was here. I talked to everybody across the aisle. But I like speaking my mind. I tell everybody what I feel the situation is. And if I'm not satisfied, I can tell you right in your face. And that's what I'm doing.
Who do you consider to be your greatest threat in this contest?
I don't think I would consider anybody a threat. It's a battle of ideas. You saw the British election recently. It's a battle of ideas. People talk about what they believe in, what they can do for the country. We don't want to discuss a battle of ideas within the SLPP. We want to have a coronation.
It could be if Madabio is out of this race, you might be very much comfortable to go.
No, Madabio has every right to be in this race. But having a right to be in this race doesn't mean other people don't have a right to be in the race.
Okay. Mr. Andrew Kelly.
Thank you.
Wonderful having you in the studios.
Thank you.
And that's all we have time for in this edition of the Star Good Morning Show. Thanks to you, our guest. Thanks to the production team. Thanks for your attention, our dear listeners. Join us tomorrow after the National News Bulletin at 8 a.m. Till then, I am Patricia Ganda
and Abdul Rahman Kamara.